Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Nickel City Mafia pregame report. Buffalo Bills versus the KC Chiefs. I am Mike Thornton. Joining me, as always, my co-host Jake Podger. Jake, how you doing today, man?
I am phenomenal. It's going to be a long day. We haven't had one of these in quite some time, so at least we got a lot of games to fill in between. Don't forget the London game that's on right now. I actually got it on my two TVs over here, so don't get too upset with me. If I keep glancing like that because I got to keep up to date with fantasy stuff. I got Corey Davis playing on my one team, so hopefully he goes off today. But anyways, yeah, we got a lot of football today, but obviously the grand game of them all is the Bills and Chiefs tonight. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds good. Jake, we are having some technical difficulties just with your image. I did disable my video for you. That has improved it. So if you don't see me, that's why. But we've seen the NFL have technical issues. It happens to everyone. So things are looking good and sounding good right now. Talk to me about, I know you're a big college football guy, and I know there
Oh my
was
gosh.
some big things going on yesterday. Talk about it.
Mike, if you're not a college football fan after yesterday, I don't know what to tell you. I think you really got to just jump on the boat and start riding it with me here because it is incredible. I mean, that was the best week of college football I can remember in quite some time. It all really started with the early games. Obviously, you got the Red River Showdown between Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma, they were down 38-20. Then they come back, and Spencer Rattler, their star quarterback, obviously they took him out of the game, and he did come in again for some plays and whatnot. But oh my gosh, that was insane. And then if you turn on ESPN, which luckily I got 3 TVs down here so I could watch them all. You turn on ESPN, you got the Ole Miss Arkansas game. That was nuts too. That went right down the wire. Over 1,200 yards of total offense between those two teams. And then at the end of the game, Sam Pittman, the coach for Arkansas, decides, hey, let's go for 2. Let's go for the win because they tied it up. Well, they would have tied it up with an extra point. It's 52-51. They go for 2-point conversion with a second left on the clock too. And they didn't get it. So Ole Miss held on. So 52-51 for that one. And then you got the Penn State-Iowa game at 4 o'clock. That ended 23-20. If Sean Clifford doesn't go out of that game, though, I think it's a different story. There was a ton of other good ones, too. Then Bama lost at night
Yeah,
against Texas A&M.
number one ranked team, right?
Wow, insane. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Wake Forest, undefeated still. They beat Syracuse in OT 40-37. So another close one. Wake Forest 6-0. I'm going to keep chalking up every week. 6-0. They're going to 7-0 next week. We're just going to keep that rolling. Wake Forest staying under the radar. And then I should give a shout out to Kentucky as well. They beat LSU pretty single-handedly. I mean, that was an absolute bloodbath. So awesome week of college football. Oh my gosh. And there were so many other close games too. UB unfortunately lost to Kent State. Kent Reed, Kent Wright, Kent State. They beat us. That's really unfortunate for us, but we'll bounce back hopefully, but hell of a week for college football.
Z-Bells 84 is saying, did you mention Arkansas?
Oh, I did. That Arkansas game was insane. Absolutely electric. KJ Jefferson, the quarterback, looked incredible. Trayvon Burks, incredible receiver. I think maybe a first-round talent, really good player. And then you got Ole Miss with Matt Corral, future quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, he looked unbelievable. I mean, some of the throws he was making, even statistically, like he put up really nice numbers, but the way he played was just so much better. You ever see games where it's like the guy doesn't necessarily he still put up really nice numbers. I think he threw 5 touchdowns or something like that, 200 something yards, but it almost felt like he threw for 600 yards. Like some of the throws he was making were just bonkers. I lost my mind. I probably stood up out of my couch like 4 times within a minute. So it was incredible. I loved every second of it.
My our buddy Troy, he's a big Oklahoma fan.
Oh no!
Right, and that was a big game yesterday.
That was
right?
close. It was too close for comfort, honestly.
Yeah,
but they pulled it together.
Yeah, they pulled it out in the end. I mean, they got off to a huge lead for the other team, Texas, and yeah, he had I think it was 28-7 by the end of the first quarter,
Yeah.
something crazy like that. And just all kinds of crazy things happened in that game, and they pulled it out at the end. So he was super, super excited by the time that game ended. But man, crazy stuff going on in college yesterday. Well, that's college, Jake. Let's get on to this week. I mean, we usually recap the game from the prior week, and that was the Texans and and we already beat that up enough, I think, on our post game show. I don't want to spend a lot of time. I'll give each one of us a little bit of time to talk about it. I think we did what we needed to do. So far, we have all four of the games we've played are against teams that don't have winning records. It's kind of crazy to think. The Steelers, who would have thought that they'd lose their next three games and are 1-3 right now? But we can't help that. We can't help. We didn't make the schedule. Thank you for who did make the schedule, but we didn't make it. And we did what we're supposed to do. We dominated that game, and that's all I can say on that. Our defense looks dominating, but they're going to get a real test this week. So everything looking good. But I said last week I'm hesitant. We haven't played anyone really stellar yet, and this is going to be the first test. So let me throw it over to you to recap last week real quick. And
yeah, well,
let me just say something real quick. We are having some technical issues on Jake's video. His audio is loud and clear, but just bear with us. These things happen. So go ahead, Jake.
well, I think in the future we'll have to get a picture of myself like jumping on a table or something,
Oh,
just a still.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out with the video portion, we can at least have that. Secondly, yeah, last week, I mean, absolute barn burner of a game, 40-0. The Bills win in the rain, and we're gonna have some more rain tonight. And I know a lot of people are pretty pissed off about it, including my cousin Nate Geary, WGR Sports Radio 550. Shout out to him. I know he was going off on Twitter about that, saying how, when you watch a game that's going on in the dome, you never wish for worse weather, which I understand his point. But anyways, I'll get into that in a minute. Secondly, with the game last week, I thought we really did play pretty well on all angles. We played fantastic offensively, even though Josh Allen didn't necessarily, I guess, impress as much as he did the week before. He still made some pretty nice throws. Stephon Diggs, underwhelming day, even with a 7-catch, 114-yard performance. I just still felt like we were missing a little bit there. And I think part of the reason, too, with our offense, with the passing game, where it didn't get going as fast is because Cole Beasley wasn't as involved. So I think that's going to be a big key for tonight. But and then Gabe Davis, too. Where the hell has he been? We got to get him more involved for sure. And even Isaiah McKenzie, he's our gadget guy. I mean, I would like to see some reverse plays, just a couple of plays drawn up for him too. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, Houston game, I thought our defense just looked elite as usual, and we'll be okay. We'll be okay. I think we're going to climb that ladder every week. So, and I think that includes this week. I don't think we're taking a step back.
Nice. I see Chris Caldwell joining us out there in the channel. Chris is on our the Nickel City Mafia Network. He does the fantasy football shows on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Glad to see you out there, Chris. I know you made a prediction, which I'll mention later on in the show. I mentioned it last week. You're almost spot on. We were both kind of spot on. I just used yours, and I gave you credit for it. And Jake was pretty darn close. So thanks for joining us, Chris. Good to see you out there. So Jake, let's before we get into the show, I do want to talk a few things. First of all, make sure you drop a nickel on that subscribe button. Give us a like. Give us some comments. We'd love to hear from you. It's been great getting the interaction in the live chats. And again, we would love for you to subscribe. This is how we continue to do these type of shows for you, bringing you football and all things Buffalo and then some on the weekend, bringing you golf on Tuesdays and fantasy football show on Wednesdays. So please. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about, Jake, about our amazing giveaway that we got going on right now.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of traction the past week. It's been going fantastic. I couldn't be happier with all the good things that I'm seeing people do. And, kind active service is all you need to do to get entered. I have a slide up right now that shows you all the other ways that you can get entries. People are doing things like feeding the homeless, making dinner for their elderly neighbor, making cookies for their neighbors. Who doesn't love cookies from their neighbors? My neighbor next door to me always brings us some amazing banana bread that she makes fresh. So
Nice.
it always puts a smile on my face. Moving my mom into care for her. I mean, that's amazing. Appreciate that. Paying it forward. So lots of good things going on, Jake, and it's exciting to see. And I just wanted to mention just real quick, I mean, I get questions a lot. Are those helmets the actual helmets that I show in pictures? Yes, those are the actual pictures I took. Some of them are like, man, it looks too too good to be true. It looks like it's fake. That's not fake. Those are the actual pictures. If you want to see it live on cam, just watch the video. In the description, there is a link that takes you to the giveaway. Just put in your name, put in your email, and all you have to do to get entered, the first thing you have to do is do a kind act of service. You tell us what that is. It'll unlock all these additional ways. And I'm not going to go through all of them. It's right there on the screen for you. One thing I do want to make sure you're aware of is the refer friends for extra entries. That got off to a slow start. I'm seeing that pick up steam as of yesterday. Maybe folks aren't aware of what that really is. And maybe some of you, I know a lot of you have been sharing this, but take that link that's in the giveaway and share that link, because for every person that signs up through your link, you get an additional entry. So that's a way to just get a huge number of entries into this giveaway. So make sure you're using that. Jake, any thoughts on the giveaway?
Well, I know a lot of Buffalo people are showing some love for that giveaway, and a lot of people would love a Josh Allen full-size helmet in their man cave, living room, etc. So I think we're definitely picking up steam in the Buffalo area for that.
Oh, you're not kidding. I've seen a lot of folks from Buffalo. I'm seeing them from really throughout the country. And then our neighbors in Canada, lots of folks there getting in. So super excited to see that. And it's just going to continue to grow. So thanks everyone for participating in this. It's super cool. And again, hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell, because every time we drop a show during the contest, which is running this month, we actually have a bonus code, and Jake will give you the bonus code at some point during the show. Just stay with us to get that. You use that bonus code, you get 5 additional entries. So super cool stuff. All right, I want to share a little story, fun story. Let me get over to it here real quick. All right, my son, who lives in Buffalo, Brandon, has his own delivery business, and he called me Thursday and he says, "Dad, I have a delivery to Micah Hyde's house." I'm like, "Oh, are you kidding?" He says, "I'm going to be there Friday." So he calls me Thursday, tells me he's going to be there Friday. I'm like, "Man, I hope he's back from practice. The odds are that you won't get to meet him." But then I get this picture sent to me on Friday, late in the afternoon. So what happened is Brandon and his coworker, they drive up with the truck. They start unloading things. Micah Hyde pulls in as they're unloading. And my son Brandon's a huge, huge fan of the Bills and Micah Hyde in particular. And he was trying to keep his emotions in check, trying to stay cool. But Micah Hyde was super nice. So after Brandon and his coworker move everything into the house, and it was a big piece of furniture that Brandon had to deliver, and it had to take it down some stairs. And so it was a rough delivery. He says, I was so sweaty and just, I mean, he had been delivering all day. So anyhow, he says he finally gets the nerve, and I had asked him to get an autograph. I said, so he gets up the nerve. He says, "Hey, I hate to ask you this at your house, but would you mind giving me your autograph?" And Micah Hyde was super nice. His wife was there as well. They've just had a new baby. And he's like, "Absolutely, absolutely." So the funny thing is, Brandon says, "Let me go get a piece of paper for you to sign." So he goes out to his truck, and it's his delivery truck, so he doesn't really have anything good to sign. But Brandon's into disc golf. I mean, that's a thing, Jake. I don't know if you've played disc golf, but it's a big thing. It's funny. Anyhow,
Right at Chestnut Ridge, baby, right in
yeah,
Orchard Park.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So he brings the disc in, and he's like, "This is all I have." And Micah Hyde's like, "No, we're gonna do a lot better for you. We're gonna do a lot better." His wife jumped up, went into the room, and brought out a couple things. And one of them was this signed miniature helmet, and they also had a
Wow.
picture of Micah Hyde that was autographed. And they gave Brandon the choice of which one he wanted. You see it there on the screen. He took the miniature helmet, autographed
That
by
is
Micah Hyde,
awesome.
right? And he took the picture with them. So Micah Hyde, shout out to you. Great karma. Thank you for doing that for my son. Brandon said he was just super nice guy all around.
That's cool. That
So
is really cool.
cool story there. So thanks again, Micah. Just means you're just gonna have a fantastic game tonight. So
I think
expect
so. I mean, it all started yesterday with the karma. I mean, his Hawkeyes beat the Nittany Lions, so I'm a little salty about it still, but they did get the win. So Micah Hyde, what a guy! I got his jersey on right now too, so even more exciting.
I mean, you talk about him all the time. You've been mentioning him. You're like
I love him.
Micah
I
Hyde
love
and
him.
Poyer. two of the the best duo in the league, in your opinion, in my opinion, that don't get a lot of talk, right?
Absolutely. Hands
Yeah.
down. And what's great is we're going to have Jordan Poyer tonight. So very exciting stuff there. We're going to need everyone, as many healthy players as we can. And then on top of that, Mike, your guy, Taran Johnson, signing the 3-year extension. How about that?
Oh, I talk about him a little bit later. I sure do.
All
So
right. We'll
that's
save
exciting. All right.
it.
All right. Let's get into the injury report on the Buffalo Bills side. Tywin Jones is questionable. Great special teams player for us. He's questionable. Matt Milano, that's a big question mark. I'm going to ask you a question about Matt in a few seconds here. AJ Epinesa showed up on the injury report. He's questionable. Marquis Stevenson, I guess, is remaining on the IR. He is eligible to come off IR, but he is remaining on the IR. So before I get to the Chiefs side, actually, no, let me get to the Chiefs, and then I'll ask you my Matt Milano question. So the Chiefs, Chris Jones, defensive tackle, is questionable. That's huge for them. He's their sack guy. He's their pressure guy. Big time player for them, and he's questionable. Their starting quarterback, Charvarius Ward, is also questionable. Willie Gay, linebacker, is questionable. He came off IR. There's some, he came off of IR and he missed Friday's practice due to personal reasons. And they really didn't say much why that was, but Willie himself went onto Twitter and says, "I love you all. Just know my mental health is giving me issues." So first and foremost, I hope Willie is okay, and we'll find out. We'll find out if he plays or not. That would be a big add if he can play for them. And then Joshua Kendo, he was put on IR this week. Any thoughts on those players, Jake?
Obviously, the biggest one that sticks out is Chris Jones. I mean, the guy is an absolute freak of nature. And if he's out tonight, that's huge for our offensive line because that guy wreaks havoc. And I don't know if you remember last year, he got into it a little bit with our offense and our entire offensive line, really. He was giving them a lot of issues. So during the AFC Championship game, that is. But yeah, if he's out, that's huge. That's huge for us.
Yeah, Z Bell saying Mike is the best. Agree. He's saying Chris Jones being questionable is huge, just like you said. And then Slinky's out there in the channel again.
Hey, there he
Slinky,
is.
what's up? You guys watching the London game? Jake was just telling me he's watching the London game before we went live here. How's that game going?
Am.
How's the game going, Jake?
I'm just watching Matt Ryan throw a touchdown pass to Hayden Hurst right here. So they just scored. They're up 16-0. Let's see if they make the extra point. Young Wei Koo coming in. I'm giving you live commentary as we go. And he got it right down the middle. What a guy. Love it.
So what's the score?
That's huge.
What's the score?
17-0 now, Falcons.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Slinky, yes, Jake's watching it for us. He'll give us updates throughout the show. And Slinky, great seeing you on the Fantasy Football Show on Wednesday. It's great for you to pop in out there. Appreciate that. So let's move on. Before I forget. All right. My Matt Milano question. Jake, you've played football. Have you ever had a hamstring injury?
I have. And actually, I most recently had a hamstring injury when I tried to get up out of my desk at work. But I won't get into that. I'm getting old. Not too old, but I'm getting old. Yes, I have had a hamstring injury previously, many, many moons ago. And it is not fun. It lingers. It just, like you think, just when you're getting better, for whatever reason, it always tends to get worse. And it's one of the worst injuries you could possibly get because, like I said, it just lingers with you and it's so hard to recover from. And even when you feel like you're ready to go, you go back out there and then something happens where you tweak it again. And it's never fully right until you give it like a ton of months. You got to and it's hard being a football player when you're dealing with that because you want to get back on the field as soon as possible. And like I said, when it starts feeling good, that's when you tweak it back again. So it's like one step forward, two steps back with that. So it's a really, really tough injury. It really is.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. And, I can't remember. I'm sure I played a lot of sports. I'm sure I pulled a hammy. I just don't remember. But
yeah.
My question for you, Jake, is all right, you're Sean McDermott. You're the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Matt wants to play this game. Matt's maybe 80, 90%. Matt's like, I'm good, coach. Put me in, coach. I want to be in this game. What are you going to do? Is this game big enough that you're going to risk playing him? Or are you looking at the bigger picture and saying, no, I'm not going to risk that. And I'm going to rest him this week so that we don't risk injuring it further. Give me your
No,
thoughts.
no, we're playing him this week. If he feels like he's good to go, we're playing him. We need him. I would take an 89 to 90% Matt Milano over anyone else right now. So absolutely, if he says he's good to go, get him on the field. I mean, every game in the NFL counts, and it's huge. There's 17 games now, and really, I mean, it could come down to a game between us and the Chiefs for the first seed in the AFC. So I think we need him to play. I really do.
I totally agree. I'm right there with you. That was my thoughts. I know that was a big conversation on a lot of the shows that I watched this week. And I'm like, play him. If he's 80%, 90%, let's go. This is a huge game. If we're able to go up 4-1 on the season and the Chiefs fall to 2-3, it's a
That's huge.
two-game advantage that we have over the Chiefs. And we got the tiebreaker, right? It is huge.
Right.
So I'm saying, step on the gas. Let's play him. And yes, I would be willing to risk. Again, if you hold him out, and again, you're saying it's lingering, but if he tells you it's good, get him in there. So I totally agree with you. I'm with that. All right. So let's talk about something we didn't really talk about last week, and it really had a big impact on the game, is the weather, right? So we got some weather in play this week. Based on what I saw earlier, again, we know the weather can change at the blink of an eye, but we have 71 degrees at game time, but we have a 66% chance of rain. So rain was a big factor last week. Looks like it's going to be in play again tonight. And the winds aren't nearly as strong as they were last week. They're going to be blowing around 8 miles per hour. So Jake, you mentioned there was rain last week, but there was some serious rain. And of course, the wind kicked up there at Highmark, and that definitely caused some issues early on, forced the Bills to kind of maybe run the ball a little bit more than they wanted to. But I mean, I'm glad they did. But yes, so this can come into play, and I think it will. I mean, it could change the game plan for both offensive teams. Thoughts on the weather?
Certainly, yeah. So first off, let me just say, you saying high mark still is like nails on a
I'm
chalkboard.
sorry, man.
It's okay. It's okay.
What should I say that makes it better for you?
Just Rich Stadium.
Just call it Rich. All right, I'll call it
Let's
Rich.
keep it old school, Mike. I
All
like
right,
it.
all
No,
right.
no. I really don't care that much, but I have brought it up every show though,
Yes,
so maybe
you
I do
have.
care a little bit. Yeah. So with the weather, I think what we didn't do last week was, even though we had 28 carries between both of our backs, I think that's going to be huge. I hate to say this because not a lot of people find the running game super fun to watch, but if we have to go to it and get started early with the run so we can set up the pass to set up those under routes and then set up the 41-yard game winning touchdown to Stephon Diggs, I think that's what we're going to have to do. So the weather is big in the fact that you throw a couple of messy balls. First off, it hits Josh Allen's confidence. Second off, I mean, you turn the ball over. It's never a good thing. I think you got to set everything up a little bit better with the weather. It does play a bit of a factor in those games. I mean, it really does. We saw what it did last week, even with Josh's throws and whatnot. So I really do think it's a big confidence thing. So if you could play well in crappy weather, it's even better for your team. And I think the Bills can do it. They showed last week that they could do it because they really got into gear, especially in the second half. So if we could just continue off of that, we'll be all right. But yeah, it definitely is going to be. It's going to be a factor. It might not be great for the statistics tonight, but hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
overcome adversity, baby. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I totally agree. I mean, on my score prediction, knowing this, when I give this at the end, I'm going to drop it down a notch just because of the weather being a factor here. So we got Slinky saying, hey, I'm nervous for the game just because we were playing in Arrowhead. Absolutely. And, they're going to have a full stadium, loud. And last year in the AFC Championship, there was only 17,000 folks, I believe, roughly around there. And
Yeah.
Josh was saying that was super loud for him during that game. I can only imagine with a packed house what that's going to be. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Man, oh man, you see this in the chat here, Mike? Riku.
I just see another boy Rico from the from our golf show and our fantasy football show Tuesday, Wednesday.
Chiefs -3 is a lot.
Yes, Rick.
Terrible.
I will give you his prediction at the end of the game. We're not going to like it. I'm going to protect him. I'm not going to say it right now. But yes, thanks for joining us, Rick. We went back and forth. I told him, please do not throw your money away, but he wants to, so I'm going to let him do whatever he wants to there.
Man, oh man. Well, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm not going to disagree with that, but I think it's going the other way around. I really do.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll get to the predictions at the end here. So, Jake, let's get into some of the key matchups. Let's start with your key matchups this week. All right. Your key matchups, and this is an interesting one. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. Josh Allen versus himself. Talk to me about what you mean there.
Well, I talked about the confidence thing. So you got to get him. You got to get him set up. Like I said, you could set up the pass with some run plays and whatnot. So usually going into a game, your first 15 plays or so are scripted. And a lot of times you don't want to veer off of those scripted plays. So going into this game, I mean, we know what the game plan is, and we're probably going to run those 15 plays. So whether they want to start with a running game or they want to start with a passing game, I noticed a lot of the last, especially the last 3 games or so, we've always started off with just a heavy passing game. And you could see those medium throws and whatnot Josh has sort of struggled on. So I think we got to start with the underneath game. Get Cole Beasley involved, as I mentioned. I mean, he had 2 catches last week. That's just not going to work. I mean, we have to get this guy anywhere between 6 to 8 catches a game in order to be successful on offense. That's my opinion. And it's not just because I love Cole Beasley. It's because I think that this is what we really need to do. It opens everything up because then you can really set yourself up for a deep ball. You can set yourself up for like a draw. There's a lot involved with all that. So I truly believe that if we're going to be successful, Josh has to feel himself. He has to get his mojo back. He's got to be playing good football because we saw what happened in the AFC Championship. We saw what happened even in last year when we played in the rain in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Josh played really not a great game. I mean, I think he only threw for 100-something yards. It didn't look good. It was a very sloppy game for him. And sometimes you see, especially with primetime games, as I mentioned in our first show, his eyes get a little wide where he's like, you can tell like the game is almost too big for him. So we can't have that happen. So I think this is the biggest thing is just getting him in a rhythm, making him feel confident, getting those underneath throws, and then setting himself up for a nice deep throw to Stephon Diggs for the game-winning 41-yard touchdown at the end of the game. I'm going to keep saying that because I have a great scenario for that too. I'm pumped to tell you guys about it.
Yeah, you nailed it. In the regular season, Josh threw for 122 yards that game. Jake, I mean, horrible. He had two touchdowns, 1 pick, and he rushed the ball for 42 yards. So did not do well at all. Whereas Mahomes threw for 225 yards. Not the greatest on Mahomes numbers either. So the rain definitely impacted that game, and we're going to have potentially rain again. So let's hope Josh has learned a little bit working with the rain. I mean, he had the game last year. We get a lot of weather in Buffalo, so hopefully he's ready for this. And then, of course, the AFC Championship game. Again, Josh didn't have his best day as well in that game, and that was in KC. So totally agree with you there. And then talk to me about the Bills defense versus the Chiefs offense. This is your other big key matchup.
Yeah, so you mentioned Pat Mahomes last year in the regular season game. His numbers weren't what we're accustomed to seeing. I think he threw for 220-something yards, 225 yards, something like that. I mean, his completion percentage was high, but he didn't really attempt that many passes. The story of that game was they ran all over us. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had like 162 yards that game. We really actually did a pretty good job of keeping Tyreek Hill in check. I think he had 3 catches for 20 yards. And then Travis Kelsey did score, I think, 2 touchdowns that game. And we talked about this last week, Mike, on who you want to shut down. Is it either Tyreek or Travis Kelsey? Which one do you try to take care of? Because you can't shut both of them down. So you have to have one of them go off, unfortunately. And I said Tyreek Hill. It's a really hard decision, but I do think that our defense needs to keep him in check. We saw what happened last week with the Philly game. Tyreek Hill, 11 catches, 186 yards, 3 tutters. And then you have Travis Kelsey, who really looked human. So they shut Travis Kelsey down, but they let Tyreek Hill go off. Chiefs win the ball game in a freaking barn burner, 42-30. So I think limiting Tyreek Hill, who when he touches the ball could have a big play at any moment, is enormous for us, especially in the rain, especially in these slippery conditions. I mean, he's going to be making guys miss. You saw what he does just in nice weather. Imagine the rain. I mean, he might lose some traction himself because he's probably run out of his shoes or whatever. But man, I mean, we got to keep it under control with him because it is such a dagger in your heart when a guy just takes the ball 79 yards for a touchdown, leaves the defense in the dust. And we saw that he can do that. He might just give the peace sign to his defender and, coast for an 85-yard touchdown mid-play. So it's really hard to do, but I think that was probably an emphasis this week for our game plan defensively. Getting pressure on Pat Mahomes also is huge. I mean, we saw what happened in the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers versus the Chiefs. I think any quarterback under duress is going to struggle a little bit. Pat Mahomes, obviously an exceptional quarterback, the best quarterback in the NFL. We got to get after him. We really do. And I think we can definitely take advantage of it. I know the Chiefs, obviously, they put some nice pieces together on their offensive line, but our defensive line has played lights out this year. So I expect a big day out of our entire defensive line again. Star Latulippe looking great, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
What a nice piece to our defense. It's so nice to have him back. So yeah, definitely Bills defense versus the Chiefs offense. That's the Chiefs offense. They're this generation's greatest show on turf. So we got to shut them down. And I think the weather might help a little bit with that. And if they do go to the run game, I think our team is a little bit better against the run this year too. So I feel confident with it.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit better against the run because of Star, just like you mentioned. We didn't have Star last year. He opted out for COVID. And so a huge addition there. And yeah, so, I mean, you talked about the run last year in that regular season game, which was raining. They ran the ball 46 times for 245 yards. I mean,
Wow.
we struggled last year, especially early on. We struggled with the run defense, right? It seemed to get a little bit better as the year went on, but yes, huge test here. I do believe that, and we got Hilaire, who's rushed for over 100 yards, right at 100, and a little bit over in his last two games. So they're running the ball well. I mean, I'll talk about Hilaire's average per run here in a little bit.
Some fumbling issues though, and the weather could play a factor in that. Going back to the weather thing.
Yeah, I think
he's had some issues this year with fumbling the football.
Yeah, well, I looked back at the 4 games because I thought that was the case, and maybe I misread somewhere, but I only saw one fumble in game 2, and maybe he's had
the Ravens game, yeah.
Yeah, so he had that one, but that's been pretty much it. I didn't see anything else in the stat line. And of course, we've had some fumbling issues as well, right? We got lucky last week. We had 3 fumbles that we were lucky to recover. Singletary, Allen, and Diggs all had fumbles in the rain. And if those happen today and we're not so lucky like last week, that's gonna change the game in a huge way. I do want to say, let's see, Blake Podger jumping
my brother.
Yeah, they didn't need to really throw that game. Exactly. We just talked about how many 46 rushes. So they're running the ball. They actually ran the ball a little bit more than they threw last week against Philly. I think they rushed the ball 32 times and they threw the ball 30 times against Philly. So
pretty balanced.
Yeah, pretty balanced. And I think if that rain's happening, if it's raining at all, we're going to kind of see that type of game again. Jake, any last thoughts on your key matchups there?
Well, last thoughts is, I mean, it's nearly impossible to contain that Chiefs offense, but I think it's really on the way we game plan with it. We got to shut down Tyreek Hill. I think our safeties are going to come up big today too, and our defensive line is going to have an absolute day. I feel good about it. I think we're still going to let up 20-plus points, probably 28 points, as I'll give you a little foreshadowing to my prediction, but we'll be okay. We'll be all right.
Yeah, I think with the good karma that Micah Hyde has already given us this week, I think he and Poyer are going to be huge in helping shut down Tyreek. Again, Tyreek went off, like you said, last week. Previous 2 weeks, it seemed like the defense has said, we're going to shut Tyreek down, but then Kelsey goes off. So it's really hard to shut down both those players. You're choosing Tyreek. I agree with you. Let's try to shut down Tyreek. And hopefully Edmonds in the middle there and whoever else they have help him with Kelsey can do a much better job than he did last year in the AFC Championship game. So
that's right.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say the guys on the Fantasy Football Show had a great idea. We're going to have a little fun with predictions of the game this week. So I'd like everyone, and it's only going to be for those who put their predictions in the live chat. Anyone who puts their prediction, you got to tell me what team is going to win and what the score is. If you hit it, if you nail it tonight, we're going to send you a $50 Amazon card. So kind of
Ooh.
fun. Put your predictions in there. Open to everybody. Even you, Jake. Get in there. I'm the only one.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
even
whoa. I
you.
don't want to be that guy.
You need to be in there. You need to get, because you've been talking to me. You always give me your predictions and get
Uh,
that in there. So
I try to
every,
do it pretty well in advance, too.
yes, you do, which is great. So everyone who's in the channel, give me your prediction. Who's going to win the game? I'll let you know what Chris and Rick's predictions are later on when we talk about ours. So, all right, let's get into a little bit of my key matchups this week. Dawson Knox versus the Chiefs backers. So last week in the Philly game, let's see here, the tight ends combined for 11 receptions for 116 yards and 1 touchdown. Hurts was just dinking and dunking all the way down the field. The tight ends were open, and I think he's been elevating, right? It seems he's getting better and better each game. They're starting to get more comfortable with him. He's the Knox that we've expected when we drafted him, and I think he continues. I think this is another big day for him. So I think that's a huge key matchup right there. I think I didn't. It's funny. I wanted to put Diggs here, but I feel like I've been jinxing Diggs, and I said, you know what? I'll
Yeah.
tell you what. So Devonte Smith, the 10th overall pick in this year's draft, he went off for, he had 7 catches for 122 yards against this Chiefs defense. I think Diggs is going to have a big day. But I took him off here. I said, you know what? No more pressure from the Nickel City Mafia, Diggs. I want
That's
you,
right.
right? I'm not going to talk about him much. He's going to go off. But so that's where I threw Dawson Knox. I think Knox can have a big game here because, again, like I said, what I saw in the Chiefs Eagles game last week, the tight ends ate very well. So,
Yeah.
thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, we saw what Dawson Knox did last week in the rain too. So I hate to keep beating a dead horse with the weather, but he could be our safe blanket, you know. And really, with the Chiefs linebackers kind of being a little banged up, I think we'd take advantage of it.
Yeah, and then on the other side, my other key matchup, I kind of went opposite of you. Bills offense versus, and I have a typo in there. It's Bills offense versus the Chiefs defense. And the reason why I say this, Jake, in the game last week against Philly, there were no punts, no punts whatsoever. There was a Chiefs interception, and Philly was stopped on downs. And so, no, I think the punters might have another week off as well this week.
Yep.
So I think the reason why I put that on there is because I believe the Bills defense will make 1 or 2 key plays. So that puts the burden on our offense. We need to score on pretty much every time we have the ball. We have to be kind of like Philly. We have to go toe to toe with them in scoring. Philly wasn't able to do it. They had to kick too many field goals once they got inside the red zone, which we've been struggling with. We can't have that this week. So I truly believe the Bills could mix in the run, which I know they're going to have to do, especially if it's raining. And Josh has a nice Josh game. I believe we can not only will we be able to score, but we'll take a lot of time off the clock, which is important. And to me, that's why I put this on here, because we have to hold serve every time. We have to hold serve. We have to score touchdowns. None of this field goal stuff. I mean, I do have maybe 1 field goal as part of my prediction. But again, that's my thought. Let's control the game. We know our defense. I believe they're elite. Yes, they played some crappy teams, but they did what they needed to do. I believe they're much better than they were last year. And because of the additions of Rousseau, Epinesa starting to come out to play now. We have Starback. We still have a studded, and then Taryn Johnson. Taran Johnson, I believe, again, will be a big player. And I haven't mentioned in my impact players later, so I'll wait for that one. So
I love it.
Thoughts on that, Jake, on the
I
Bills
actually want to
offense?
ask you a question. I
Yeah.
want to ask you a question. So between the two backs, I know you're a big Singletary guy. You still are, but you're kind of getting more sold on Zach Moss. Who do you think has the better day out of the two backs?
Whew. I am going to say in the rain, I'm going to stick with my boy Singletary. I'm going to stick
All
with my
right.
guy. I think, again, they're going to do, last week, it was dead even. I think they both had 14 carries, roughly. Almost the same
exactly.
yardage. I think Singletary will have a slightly better game, but I think they still go off and pretty much be 50-50. But I'm still going to hold to my guns there, Jake. Singletary's my guy, but as I said last week, I'm starting to get sold on Moss. And just having him healthy. And I know Chris, was in the channel here, I know he drafted Zach Moss on many of his teams, and he's starting to see the benefit of doing that.
Finally, reaping the rewards there. Yeah.
So he does.
He just finds a way to score touchdowns, really, which is awesome.
Exactly. I mean, he's that guy who's going to come in short yardage and and steal those touchdowns away from Singletary. But I do think they both have a decent game, a very good game, and I think Singletary just has a few. To me, brings a little bit more in the passing game. So that's what I'm calling. I'm sticking to my guns there.
All right. I like it. I like it.
All right. Let's see. Let's go over here. We got some predictions. Chiefs 34, Bills 23. Oh, that's your, did you say your brother?
Yep.
Oh boy, you better have a big talking to him.
I know.
Ben Vio. Do you know Ben?
Yeah. Actually, so that's my longtime friend. He usually asks for my predictions every week. I usually give him a full statistical breakdown of every single player on the team. He'll probably be asking me about that today as well. Ben's a great kid. I actually, unfortunately, lost my chat here. I have the iPad going, and it just died on me. So I'm missing his prediction, which I'm so upset about. So go ahead and read off his.
So he's predicting Bills win 30-28. Close one.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
He also says
he hasn't heard mine yet.
He also thinks Cole Beasley pops off and Singletary has another fumble. Ooh.
I don't like that. Maybe.
I don't like that at all. Well, as long as we recover it, I'm okay. But no, we talked about that. We cannot have any of these turnovers.
No errors.
We got super lucky last week. And if that happens again, I don't feel that we're going to get as lucky this week. So, So Ben, like the prediction. As long as we're winning, I'm loving it. Just have a talk with Blake, will you? Will you, Jake?
I will. I'll call him right after this. Don't you worry.
A couple other things I just wanted to mention, and I want to get your thoughts on this before we move off my key matchups. I say the Chiefs defense. So they've been giving up a lot of yards. Last year, they gave up an average of 358 yards per game. This year, they're giving up 438 yards per game.
That's a lot. That's a huge difference.
Right? Last year, they gave up 236 yards per game through the air and 122 yards on the ground. This year, they're giving up 292 through the air and 146 on the ground. And then last year, they gave up an average of 23 points per game. This year, they're giving up an average of 31 points per game. Now, Jake, I looked. I'm like, man, has their team changed that much? And no, that defense is pretty much the same. I looked at the depth chart from this year to last year, and they have a couple injuries this week coming in this week, but I have no explanation as to what's happening. Every team they've played has pretty much put up close to 30 points, other than Cleveland, who I think it was 29 points in that game.
And that's still,
So they put up, they've given up 29, 36, 30, and 30. So any idea, any thoughts to maybe what's happening with the team that's coming back pretty much the same from last year?
Yeah, I don't have a reasoning for that. I mean, actually, who's having a really nice year, and I know he's on your list, Mike, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. I mean, the guy's going off, and he's playing fantastic football. Outside of him, though, I think everyone's kind of been playing under their skill set. I mean, they're just not. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Maybe they just want to play shootout football all year and make it fun for the fans. I'm not really sure. I know Charvarius Ward, he is injured. He's questionable too. So that does hurt a little bit for them because he's a starting corner for them. But I mean, really, you look at the deep. I'm looking at it right now here. It's really not any different. So I can't figure it out. Yeah. Shout out to Derek Noddy too. Actually, I do like him a lot. He's been having a pretty nice year too.
All right.
Frank Clark has been pretty under the radar too. Not in a good way. He hasn't been great.
Yeah, I even looked. I mean, did they have a change on defense as far as coaching goes? And no, everything's the same. This is
still
the team,
Steve Spagnuolo.
This is the team that had sacked Josh 4 times in the AFC Championship game last year, and they just haven't been bringing it. And the teams have been really picking them apart on the short stuff. And I think you're going to see that continue. Their linebackers aren't that, I mean, I don't want to say they're not that athletic, but they're not at the level that some of the top linebackers are. So there's an opportunity to take advantage of that underneath stuff. And I think you'll see that mixed in with the run game. And hopefully at that point, then we can use that to take advantage of some deep throws. But yeah, it's a mystery to me. I don't know. I hope that continues. I don't think there's any reason why that doesn't continue in this game, even with the rain. I still think they're going to have 30 points or more dropped on them. And again, in a high scoring game.
I like that. I like that prediction, Mike.
All
Feel
right,
good
all
about
right.
that.
So let's go here to, let's see. Let's talk about your impact players, Jake. So on the Bills side, you have the Bills running backs Cole Beasley and Star Latuele. You stole my guy. I
I
used him
know. I'm sorry.
I
I
used him the
had
first
to.
2 weeks. I was bragging on him. I said, you know what, I gotta stop talking about stars. But I'm glad you have him on your list. So talk to me about those three Bills running backs, Cole Beasley and Star.
Okay, so obviously I'm going with my guy Zach Moss out of the two. I asked you that question earlier about who you'd rather have, Devin Singletary or Zach Moss, go off this game. So I think Zach Moss has a really big day. I think he's getting into the end zone twice, and he's probably going to have anywhere between 60 and 70 yards. So pretty nice day for him. Fantasy owners are going to be happy if they start him. Probably a flex option, in my opinion. Um, I mean, like I said, I hate to keep going back to the weather, but if we can establish the run, as a lot of people say, we can get that in early, we'll be able to set up the pass, and then we can just start throwing all over this team. So I really do believe it's going to be a huge piece today, and it's going to help Josh's confidence. And I think we've seen that over the last few weeks. We saw it last week. We saw what happened in the second half. I mean, we bullied that team. And if we can win up front like that too, I mean, that's huge. So I expect our running backs to have a nice day today. It's going to be a key matchup for sure. And I think we're going to end up winning that matchup. Absolutely. Hands down. As far as other impact players on that team, for this week, I said Cole Beasley. He's going to have 9 catches for 98 yards, in my opinion, and a touchdown. I like giving exact statistics of what I think is going to happen. It probably won't happen, but we'll see. 9 for 98. He's overdue. It's already been a game since the Washington game. He only had 2 catches last week. Get those underneath throws in early, and I think he's going to be just fine. He's going to have a really nice day today, and Josh is going to be settled in, and we're going to be just fine. I hate that I have to almost console myself as I'm talking this through because I am nervous. I am
Oh,
very nervous.
absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then, obviously we talked about Star Latuele. He's kind of been, up front and center with that defensive line. He has been the guy who has really made the biggest impact this year, in my opinion. So I expect that to continue today. And he's going to wreak havoc on that defensive line. I know it's not the sexiest position to put as an impact player, but it's very important. And he's been getting sacks, so
Yeah.
really can't argue it.
Yeah, he's been getting pressures, helping shut down the run, and that's going to be a big deal because those 4 guys up front, they're gonna have to shut down that run and allow us to have more coverage on Kelsey and the likes of Tyreek. So super important for that front 4. Totally agree, and Star is a key to that. And let's go over on the KC side. You went big. You went with the hat trick. I mean, you went with
I know.
the
I
3
know. It's too
KC
easy.
Chiefs, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill.
Yeah.
So talk to me. Obviously,
Well, I talked about you got to shut down Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's an impact player. Anytime he touches the ball, he could score. With Travis Kelsey, he kind of takes a different approach. I mean, he does get a really good yak stat, but on top of that, I mean, they just chip away at you with him. Just keep just dinking and dunking, kind of like what the Eagles did to the Chiefs last week. But Travis Kelsey is an absolute game breaker, I would say. He tires a defense out, and he just produces. He's so good. He's a fantasy cheat code. I mean, the best tight end in football. He's been the best tight end in football for the last 7 years, really. He hasn't even been challenged. So, yeah, I mean, it is paramount that we shut him down today. I really do think, the best we can. Because, like I said, we got to focus on Tyreek Hill more so. But Travis Kelsey, I mean, the guy is just so damn good. And he probably is still going to have a big day because we're going to be focusing more on Tyreek Hill. But, yeah, so definitely an impact player. And then obviously Pat Mahomes, best quarterback in football. Hard to shut that guy down. We got to get pressure on him immediately, get him thinking, get him making mistakes. We saw him make a couple mistakes this year. I think he's like second in the league in interceptions thrown.
Yep.
I think he's only thrown 4, but still 14
He's,
touchdowns to 4 picks, something like that. But yeah, we saw that he can, he'll make mistakes when he gets a lot of pressure. So got to get after him.
He looks human.
He does.
Talk to me about Kelsey. I mean, who do you think we're going to have matching up against him? Obviously Edmonds, but who are they going to help him with?
I would like to see Taran Neal help a little bit. Come down, hit him at the line, jam him a little bit. I think he's actually done a pretty good job in the past when we've had to, call on him. So obviously with Matt Milano injured too, and it's definitely a mismatch. It's already a mismatch as it is, but because no one can match up against Travis Kelsey. It's just It's nearly impossible to guard the guy. But I would like to see Taran Neal come down and check him a little bit. And you know what? Get those nickel corner, Taryn Johnson. I mean, shoot. Hit him at the line. Don't let him get off the line as easy as, it's easier said than done. But get those guys involved. But I would like to see Taran Neal a little bit today.
Yeah, with Tyreek Hill, man, I mean, just keep him from not beating you long, right? It just feels like it's playground football when I was a kid, right? You'd always have that one kid, and I was actually pretty quick, but you'd have that one speedster, and you're like, dude, just go deep. Just go deep. I'm throwing it to you. And Mahomes throws the ball up, and somehow, some way, Hill always gets it. And these huge plays, if we can contain that, I'll be super happy. And I think, obviously White will be on him doing all that he can, and he'll get help. Obviously, he'll get help. Two of the best safeties in the league are out there to help. And then again, Taryn Johnson. Again, I think I have Taran Johnson mentioned, so I'll wait till I get to him. But yes, I totally agree. Focus on getting Hill. Just keep him, don't give up any of those 70-yard touchdown bombs, 50, 60. I mean, keep him under control. I think we'll be all right.
Also, I totally butchered Taran Neal's name. I was saying Taran Neal. I don't know what I'm saying right now. You know what, Mike? I'm doing this early. We're cracking this open.
Let's
Cheers,
go.
guys.
Let's go.
Yep. We're ready.
So let me go back to the channel here. Let's see. Ben also said they have gone against some really good offenses. I think he's talking about the Chiefs. You're absolutely right, Ben. I forgot to mention that. Yes, maybe it's the competition that the Chiefs have been playing against. I mean, other than Philly, they've been playing against the likes of the Chargers, Baltimore, and Cleveland to open the season, which I feel they should have lost and should be 1-3 right now. But they pulled that out. Great teams find ways to win ugly games. But you're right. I have to agree. To some extent, it's definitely been the competition they've been playing.
There's a great quote by Bill Cowher, and it says, it's just very simple. It says, "So what if we win ugly?" That was his quote. Yeah. And hey, a win's a win. We'll take it at the end of the day.
Right. At the end of the year, we'll look back and we'll say, "Oh, we were X number of wins." No, a win is a win. Don't really care that it was ugly. And so
absolutely,
totally agree. And then Jason Collard said 35 Bills to 27 Chiefs. I like that prediction. And then Collard said stud game.
All right, so this is my Uncle Jay.
All right,
great guy. Shout out to him. Love him. He's a big South Carolina fan too, which I'm a huge Gamecocks fan. You can't see it on the screen, but I have a pool light that's over my pool table here. It's all South Carolina Gamecocks. So big fan of them. They lost a tough game yesterday against Tennessee, but they'll bounce back hopefully eventually this year. I don't know. They're 3-3. They're not looking great. I love that prediction. I really do. I'm pretty close on mine. And he got on me a little bit about saying stud too many times. So I've really tried to be, try to stay away from saying that word. So yeah, so that's a little inside joke. It's fun.
And then we got Zachary Poffler. Sorry if I say their last name wrong. Bills have the best secondary the Chiefs have played, and they can run stop now in the 2 high set that we can we ran heavy last fall against them.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't argue that. And you know what I love about Zach is he's been watching a lot more football shows, football highlights, etc. So I've gotten him a little more into it this year, which is great to see. Love just brainwashing the people that I know. So absolutely love to see it.
Well, I love to see all of them out here. So thanks for joining us, Zachary. Is it okay to call him Zach?
Yeah, call him Zach.
All right, Zach, give us your prediction on the game. You may not have heard, we're giving out a $50 Amazon gift certificate. If anyone can hit the game right, got to give us the team that's going to win and your score predictions. So throw that in the channel. Appreciate you. All right, let's move on to my impact players. And for this week on the Bills, I already talked about him early on in key matchups. Dawson Knox. I think Dawson Knox needs to continue. He's been getting better game by game. I think he can eat very well in that underneath. Again, I talked about how the Eagles had a combined 11 catches last week against this Chiefs defense. I think Dawson Knox continues that. Micah Hyde, I think, obviously, I'm putting him on here for a couple reasons. Not only for the kindness that he did with my son, how nice he was to my son, how he gave him an autographed helmet that I showed earlier. That sets the stage for some great karma for him. Obviously, he's one of the best in the game. Him and Poyer, the dynamic duo back there. So I think they're gonna. He made a big play last week, had an interception. I think he makes more big plays this week. And then my guy Taran Johnson, I've been gloating about this guy since the beginning of the year. Obviously, he's a big time playmaker, and we signed him for 3 years, $24 million. Great play by the Bills. Super happy they did this. This kid is an up and coming star, and we missed him last week. He was out with an injury. Maybe they were resting him. He probably could have played if we really needed him. But he's back this week, and I feel comfortable having him there. I think he's going to make a difference. Thoughts on the Bills' impact players that I throw out there? Jake?
Love it. Love the choices, Mike. I think you're spot on with all of those. They're all going to have a really big day. Micah Hyde might have a couple interceptions today. No, I'm getting wishful there. He might have one. But yeah, no, I love it. I think Dawson Knox is going to have an impact today. I don't know if his stats are going to be insane across the board, but I think he gets in the end zone again. And then, obviously Taryn Johnson. I mean, the guy's been an absolute beast of a player. I almost said stud there. Love that we have him. Love that we locked him up for 3 years. And I feel really good about it. Glad to have him back this week.
Yeah, I'm going to
Weber State.
I'll use it. He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. So
Yes,
he didn't make a change. I got Zach out there. He said Nickel City Mafia got me into it. So I'm thinking the name.
Oh,
yeah, love it. I totally agree. Man, when I decided to do this channel, I was going back and forth with a lot of people, and this was perfect.
It is a cool name.
And what is cool about it is then my son, Brandon, who's in Buffalo, he's like, Dad, I've never heard of that nickname. And I talked about in my inaugural stream how the nickname came about. But then as he's out delivering, he starts sending me pictures of people that have signs for their businesses. Nickel City Mafia, Auto, whatever, Nickel City Mafia this.
That's
yes,
wild.
I'm not kidding you. So because he travels all over delivering things.
Yeah.
So he's able to find some of these. And yes, Nickel City Mafia. Thanks, Zach. And then, wow, did you see his? Oh, you said you can't see it right now.
No, I actually brought it up on my phone.
Zach
so
is predicted 56 to 54.
Wow. He wants that Chiefs Rams game from a few years ago. Wow. Hey. Classic. I wouldn't have expected anything less from him there.
And then Maria Padres is 35-31 Bills.
All right, Mom. There you go.
Love
I like
it,
that
love
prediction.
It. Yes. Call her Mrs. Podger for me. Mrs. Podger, I love the prediction.
So I got to tell you something about the Nickel City thing. So actually, Zach, my brother-in-law, we were talking about it because he said that there are 2 other cities in Canada who use Nickel City. But I said, yeah, but they're Canada. I mean, Canada, there are friends to the north, don't get me wrong. But there's only one Nickel City in the United States of America, and that's Buffalo, New York. So there we go.
Yeah, I did a show on this. I mean, it was all about the Buffalo nickel. I forget what year it was that it came out, and it had the bison on the back of it. It had the Indian head on the front, and
That's
of
cool.
course that got associated to Buffalo, the city of Buffalo, and a few others as you just mentioned. So Nickel City made sense, of course. Nickel City Mafia. So thank you again for giving a shout out to the name of the channel. So let's move on to my other side of the fence here. I got Tyrann Mathieu, of course, one of the best at his positions, and he's a playmaker for this team. You talked about him early on in the show, making plays all the time. So he's going to be he is their best player on defense.
Absolutely.
Hands down. Chris Jones, who we talked about, he's their sack maker. He's their pressure guy. He's dinged up, is questionable. That's going to be a huge loss if he can't play today. But he's one of their key guys. I mean, he's really maybe only, I don't want to say the only, but I listened to a guy earlier this week. He was a host on one of the Buffalo shows. I'm sorry, he was a guest on one of the Buffalo shows, and he was a guy who actually does a podcast for Kansas City. So
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he upset a lot of Kansas City folks because while he was on this Bills podcast, he predicted a victory from the Bills. And the reason he said that is he says, look, they both have great offenses. I just think the Bills defense is that much better than the Chiefs.
Yep,
And
I agree.
and that's where he said that's the difference in the game. And he also mentioned Chris Jones. Chris Jones having a maybe the stats aren't showing it, but the guy's putting in, getting a lot of pressures, and he's one of their main guys on that front four. So Chris Jones, big guy, and then I talked about then I mentioned Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hilaire's been coming on last 2 weeks. He's rushed for 100 yards or better. He scored a touchdown, receiving touchdowns actually, in each of his last 2 games. So they can run the ball. They will probably run the ball or they're going to try. They're going to try, Jake, and we have to change what happened last year, right?
Yeah.
We have to change. And we've already mentioned, we think we've got that nailed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? That was one thing we really didn't mention a whole lot of is Clyde Edwards-Helaire catching the football. He's kind of like Brian Westbrook, how Andy Reid used to use Brian Westbrook back in that early to mid 2000s offense with the Eagles. So, yeah, you got to definitely look out for that too. I think that's going to be something to key in on. He might have a few catches today, so got to look out for that.
So
but
Jake,
I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. Jake, we went a little long without giving the bonus code. So
Yeah.
thankfully I remembered. What's our bonus code for today's show?
So the bonus code has to do with Josh's passing numbers from last year. So bonus code is Josh 4544, and the 4544 is representative of the number of passing yards he had last season. Hell of a year, set the Bills franchise record.
Yep. And take that bonus code, put it in, 5 additional entries into the giveaway. Again, the link is in the description for that giveaway. You don't want to miss out. We've been doing amazing things with that, doing a lot of good for people. And then I just love, I love reading the stories that, and we'll continue to talk about that in every show. And remember, we'll have a bonus code for every one of our shows. Yes, we made you work for this one towards the end of our show. but sometimes we'll give it to you early, mid show, or at the end of the show. But anyhow,
also I gotta pull my ear. I just got a text. My dad and our good buddy Alan, they're out in the woods hunting right now, and he said, "Pull your ear if you see this. We're in the woods right now, but we're watching the show." So here we go, coming live to you from North Collins, New York.
I love it. That is amazing.
Phenomenal. Yep, that's great.
So let's get all right. It's at that time, guys. I've given you enough time in the channel. Again, in order to participate in this $50 Amazon gift card, you have to put it in before the show enters. You have a little bit more time. We're going to talk about our predictions right now. So if you haven't put your prediction in, tell me who's going to win, tell me the score, and you could be the winner of an Amazon gift card tonight. So, Jake, let me start by giving you some of the other members of the channel, their predictions. All right. So on the fantasy football show on Wednesday, Slinky jumped in, right? And Slinky jumps in and he says, hey, he wants to get to the game right away. Do you think the Bills will have the best record in the AFC? Both of the guys on Wednesday, and they're huge Ravens fans. And obviously the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's been working miracles this year. But they're huge Ravens fans, and they both said, yes, Bills will have the best record. Now,
I love it.
They did not agree on who was going to win the game this week. So let me give you that. So Rick, who jumped in early on the channel, said the -3 is a lock. He predicted a 35-24 Chiefs victory. All right. And then Chris came back with a 31-27 Bills victory.
Nice. I love it.
So
Chris.
they're both high on the Bills. I'm telling you, I told Rick, stop throwing his money away. He made a bet. Actually, on the show, he said he was going to take the 9.5 with Washington over the Bills. He had gotten the 9.5. But then he tells me, well, Mike, sometimes I don't place the bets that I talk about on Wednesday because it's so hard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I told him, stop throwing your money away when you bet against the Bills. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
So
that's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And I think because you're on the Nickel City Mafia platform, that should just be a rule.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
But I
No doubt
love
about it.
but I love him being honest with what he thinks. He brings a lot of good insight to football in general and fantasy football. These guys,
Absolutely.
Chris and him, just know their stuff. All right,
I
Jake.
watched a couple of those shows, by
Yeah,
the way. Shout out to those guys. They are fantastic.
they are. They are. Their show's been growing, getting a lot of participation. People coming in asking, "Who should I trade? Who should I play?" And they take the time to answer those. Again, every show we do is live, so you have questions, you want to interact, please do so. That's what makes it fun for us. All right, Jake, what's your prediction? Give it to me.
All right, so I didn't realize I'm on my other YouTube channel, so you'll see State Farm Flash in there. I made this channel a long time ago. It was so my nick they used to call me Jake from State Farm. So and then we were playing beer league softball. I wasn't very good at it, but they used to call me Flash. So I just combined the two together because I had to think of a fun YouTube name. So I put that in there. My prediction: 32-28 Bills. Now let me talk to you about this, Mike, because I
Yes,
want to get
please
into
do.
this a little bit. I feel like Lee Corso whenever I do this each week because I like to build it up a little bit. So I'm just going to keep rolling with it. Anyways, I was looking at our history with the Chiefs over the last, I don't know, 10 years, even going back to 2003 when we lost to the Chiefs. We got smoked. It was like a Sunday night game. I remember Priest Holmes went off that game. I think we had a punt go out of the back of the end zone or something. It was just ridiculous. So our history against the Chiefs in recent memory, it's been pretty back and forth. You can look, I mean, there was a time where we had 3 straight wins against them from like 05 to 09. And then after that, we lost into OT. The last time we beat the Chiefs, 2017 on November 26th, our quarterback was Tyrod Taylor at the time. Tarad, I should say. That's how you actually pronounce his name according to Hard Knocks. But anyways, we've lost the last 2 games against the Chiefs. Third time's a charm. The Bills are getting this win today, and I think it's going to be a crazy game. I'm factoring the weather in this. I think the Bills go down, score a touchdown. We go for 2 to make a statement. We go up 8-0. So that's how we're going to get to the score. And then there's a couple more scores that happen after that. We get to 22 points. It's like 22 to, I don't know, 22 to 14 at half, I'm going to say. And then the second half is not going to be as crazy. And we're going to go down. We're going to kick a field goal. So we'll be up 25-14. Chiefs, of course, are going to come back and to score a touchdown. 25-21. They're not going to elect to go for 2 for whatever reason because Andy Reid's an analytics guy. So he says maybe not until later. Then the Chiefs go down and score again. They're up 28-25. Not looking great. We're thinking, oh no, here we go. We're probably going to lose this game. Fourth quarter, there's 2 minutes left. Nice 2-minute drill. Josh is feeling himself. We get a couple underneath throws to Cole Beasley. He finally gets to his 98 yards. That's his last catch of the game with like 1:30 left. So then we have a 4th and 1. And unfortunately, it's not a crazy, I mean, we kind of feel like we have to go for it because we're on like the 41-yard line. So that's a long field goal to attempt in the rain. So we go for it on 4th and 1. We do a play action. Josh rolls out. Deep ball. Stephon Diggs, 41-yard touchdown for the win. 32-28 Bills.
Yeah.
And guess what? The best part, the Chiefs will get the ball back because there's a few seconds left or whatever. Pat Mahomes chucks up a 60-yard pass, picked off Jordan Poyer. The ankle's totally fine. Bills celebrate number 1 seed in the AFC. We're drinking beers. We're having a great night. Bills 32-28. That's my prediction.
Dude, I mean, do you dream about this stuff?
I do. I actually do. This is literally what I dream of. Like, my wife is sleeping next to me. She's having night terrors, and she's like, "My dream, there was someone chasing me with a knife trying to murder me." I'm like, oh, I was thinking about football. I don't know what you're dreaming about, but 32-28 Bills. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, Jake, you cracking me up. You're an East Coast guy, and I always make sure I don't text you past a certain time out here. But you're a late bird lately, so you're thinking about these games, and I love how.
Yeah. Late at night.
I think for every major, all the Bills games, but even Thursday night, any primetime games, you're throwing out predictions, Mike, and you're giving me detail. Here's what the quarterback's going to do. Here's what the receivers are going to do. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic.
I'm obsessed. I am absolutely obsessed. I love it.
So my prediction was I was going to go a little high. I was going to go 38-31, Bills, of course. But because of the rain, I'm taking it down a notch. So I'm going to go 38 Bills, 24 Chiefs. I think the rain keeps it around that number. And again, nice. I think our defense makes enough plays And again, I like you're going for it on fourth. I hope they make a much better play call than they did in the game against the Steelers. Two of
Yeah,
those
and
fourth down plays. Go
And I
ahead.
got to say this on that fourth down, it's going to be a great fake. He's going to sell it to Zach Moss. He's going to jump over the pile, and then we're going to hit Stephon Diggs. It's going to be incredible, Mike. I can't wait for it to happen.
Oh man, that's so funny. Yeah, I hope that happens for sure. Again, I think it's gonna be a great game. And again, we have to score. Again, I put one field goal in there. I mentioned that early on in the show. We cannot do more than one field goal. We have to score touchdowns, and that's what I think is going to take to beat this team. You have to outscore them and make a play or two. Yes, Mahomes has looked human sometimes this year. You
Yeah.
mentioned it. He's thrown some key picks, and with this, now we didn't really talk about something. We didn't talk about is their offensive line was totally revamped from last year after the Super Bowl. They just tore it down and rebuilt it, and there's a lot of good players on that team. And maybe it's been taking a little while to gel because it's one thing to look great on paper, but it's another thing to play on the field as a team. Um, so we didn't talk about that. You did mention it was the offense against the Bills defense. Do you think there's anywhere we can take advantage on that offensive? I'm sorry, yeah, on that offensive line of the Chiefs?
I do. I think right in the interior, honestly. I really do. I mean, Star Latuele has been playing phenomenal. I think we're going to get a lot of pressure that way. And I think we're going to take full advantage of it. I really do. I think it's going to be a mismatch today. And especially with the weather, they're going to try to run the football. They're not going to do so hot on that. They're going to have to force some throws. Maybe we get an interception or two. We're going to definitely get one at the end of the game with Jordan Poyer. So Pat Mahomes, we're going to make him look very human today.
Then we have some big news. I mean, I'm coming to Buffalo, Jake. I'm coming to
Yeah.
Buffalo end of the
I
month.
can't wait.
I'm bringing my family, my little boy who is 9 years old, my 16-year-old, my wife have never seen Buffalo. So I'm bringing them back home. We're going to go to the Dolphins game. So excited about that. I fly in Friday that weekend. You and I definitely going to hit up one of those great joints, maybe the Bill Bar. We're gonna have Bar Bill. I always get it reversed.
Bill Bar.
Bill
I
Bar.
like it though.
I'm thinking Bills, right? Bills. So Bill Bar.
Yeah, of
Bar
course,
Bill.
of course.
But we're gonna hit one of those places up, you and I. And
Yes.
I'm so excited about this. My three kids that are out there in Buffalo, Brandon, who I mentioned earlier with the Micah Hyde story. I have my daughter Nicole and my other son Brian. So the three of them and Jonah and I are going to that Bills game. Jonah has been to a football game before. He's went to see his Ravens beat up on the Rams on a Monday night football game a couple years ago. But now he's going to get to experience the Bills, and he is super excited. I can't wait to take him to that game. And of course, he loves his older brothers and sisters. He is excited to have them coming along for the game.
Now, are you guys going to see Pinto Ron squirt ketchup all over himself?
I don't know. Who's Pinto Ron? I don't know. You got to tell me who this is.
It's a great legend. So this guy has had season tickets for the Bills for now it's going on, I think, almost 40 years, something like that. So this guy, he has this old Ford Pinto. He literally cooks on it. He has old relics. He has a thing of milk, a jar of milk from the 1992 AFC Championship game. He's got all this stuff just in this car. He's this older guy. Actually, NFL Films did a feature on him, which is incredible. Highly recommend you watch it. But it's super cool. So every week, every home game, they do the tailgate and everything like that. They do pizza there. This guy, Pizza Pete, who was featured on Dave Portnoy's thing with the pizza reviews that he does, he cooks pizza out of this. It's like an organizer drawer. He puts pizza in this thing. I mean, it's the most Buffalo thing you'll ever see. It's amazing. It's hilarious. But before kickoff, before you go in for the game and whatnot, it's usually around 11:30. They go over to the Ford Pinto. They have some guys stand up on this van and everything, and then they squirt ketchup all over this Pinto Ron guy. He's just this old guy. He's got this long beard, and it's crazy because it's I don't know where he goes to shower. Maybe he just I don't think he's just walking in there like that. I mean, he probably goes and showers somewhere, but it is freaking wild. It is one of the coolest traditions. And I know the tailgates, they can obviously get a little rowdy and everything, not super kid friendly, but this one's kind of fun to watch. I definitely recommend it. It's cool to see.
And then tell me about this. I mean, am I going to see people jumping through tables?
You might see a little bit of that. You might have to shield the eyes a little bit sometimes. I don't think it's as R rated as it was when we were a bad team. Now people obviously want to be able to get into the game, so they're getting drunk, having a good time, but they're able to still get into the game. So
Gotcha.
tickets are way too expensive to jeopardize that. So
Yeah.
it's a great thing. Nothing like a Bills tailgate, I'll tell you that. And actually, my office has offered you to come to our tailgate. So if you're interested, you can stop in. It's a great time. I know my boss, he always does something really good for food. We have a really nice time, great people. So you let me know. We'll get together about
Oh,
it for sure.
absolutely. I wanna be there because we were gonna do the show before I found out I was going to Buffalo. We were gonna do the show, and we were gonna actually have you live at your office doing
Yeah.
the show. It's Halloween, man. This is
I know. I
it,
know. I'm dressing up for it too. I am.
it's gonna be crazy. So since I'm gonna be there, yeah, I would love to stop by and give the office shout out, say thank you for supporting the channel, and of
Yeah.
course you as well. So I'm just super excited. I'm telling you, man. Dude, it's been over 10 years since I've been back to
Wow.
Buffalo. Over 10
Wow.
years. My kids, my family's never been there. I'm gonna take them to the old where I grew up, the valley. We're gonna take
Nice.
them around, show them where Dad grew up, and then we're gonna go. Dude, I'm gonna eat, and eat.
That's all you do in Buffalo, eat
I
and drink.
mean,
So
I'm
pick
I'm
one of the
getting
two.
I'm getting hungry. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning out here, a little bit at past 8, and pizza, wings,
Oh,
and beef
so
on
good.
weck. Oh my
Yep.
God, beef on weck, dude! Beef on weck, you just don't find it anywhere. Like
It's a Buffalo thing.
if
Yeah.
somebody put that on their menu out here, which I don't understand why they haven't. If somebody would, that thing would blow up. It would
Yeah.
blow up. It's so good. So looking forward to that. Again, Halloween. We're actually gonna, my son's still into trick or treating. We're gonna trick or treat on
Nice.
Halloween night with
Nice.
him. So that's gonna be fun. Again, he's gonna have his sisters and brothers taking him around with us. So we don't know what weather we're gonna get. I mean, what should we expect? What do you think the weather's going to be around end of
Oh
October?
man, there's been some Halloweens where it snowed. I
Oh
mean, there's
boy.
been some Halloweens where it's 70 degrees. There's been some Halloweens where it's just absolutely downpoured. You never know what you're going to get in Buffalo. You take it day by day because it's the most bipolar weather you'll ever see anywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I can remember the days when I lived there and going on Halloween. Yes, you just don't know what you're going to get. I
Yeah.
hope I hope we don't get any snow. That's the only thing I'm
I, I,
over.
I
I don't.
fingers crossed. Not yet. I
I
actually
don't.
like the snow. A lot of people hate the snow, but I think it'd be kind of cool.
So Zach saying there's an Applebee's close to the stadium that is super good. We have an app.
He's so full of crap. He is such a troll. Don't listen to anything he says. Applebee's, any
Oh,
chain restaurant. Listen, I don't mind a chain restaurant every once in a while, but there's so many good spots in Buffalo to eat. You can't go wrong with pretty much anything. Just don't do that.
oh,
Please don't do that, Mike.
Jake, we
I know
have
you're not gonna, but
no, heck no. We have Applebee's out here, and trust me, they're never on our list. When we're asking
eating good
where
in the
we're going,
neighborhood, baby.
where we going for dinner tonight, Applebee's never crosses our mind, and it's super close. It's literally like 2 miles away from us. So no,
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that. I've got
yeah.
lots of places. I want to go try the Schmitty wings. I want to go
Yes.
to
Docs.
I want to go to Barbill. I want to Imperial Pizza. That's the one I remember. But I'm going to try another one. Again, when I did my food show way back when I first started, I reached out to a lot of my friends in Buffalo. They gave me all these great places, and obviously you've given me a few places. So we'll have to talk about where we're going to go.
For sure.
I don't want to. My wife's like, you're probably going to do all the things before we get there because my wife and my older son are flying in Sunday. So
Okay.
my boy and I have Friday night and Saturday night. Obviously, I hope one of those are the nights that we can get together,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
we're gonna make a trip out to Niagara Falls on Monday. Take a quick
Nice.
trip to the American side, of course, and then Tuesday we leave Tuesday night and we get back in town late Tuesday. But that's the day I'm gonna take him around where I grew up, and I have a
Nice.
couple places to go. Marilla Street, back to the valley. So it's about
I
a
love it.
5-7 mile trip. So let's see, what do we got here? Raining and cold is what Jason's saying. Yeah, we'll be prepared. We're living in California, but I know I live in Buffalo. We're gonna come prepared. We're gonna bring some nice warm clothing, and
Yeah.
then Jason says ZP is giggling like a
That's my
schoolgirl,
brother-in-law. Yeah, yeah. He always does this. He sets me up for this. It's hilarious. I love it. I really enjoy it. It gets me to laugh my ass off every time. So keep on doing it. It's great.
All right. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Again, please drop a nickel on that subscribe button for us. Again, we've been just doing fantastic since Jake's been added to the Nickel City Mafia network. He's just been bringing a lot of family and friends, and I can't tell you how appreciative we are that you're supporting us and coming out live on the channel. It just makes it so much more fun. So appreciate you there. And again, give us a like. Yeah, thank you, and give us, hit that notification bell. You want those bonus codes. Man, I'm telling you, over the last few days, I don't know what's hit. Somebody's finally found this. And share those links in the app. Share that link. Don't just send the link directly. Share the link that's in the app. It gives you a custom link. People sign up. You get entries. Let's see what else we got. Blake, thanks, guys. Great show. Appreciate it very much. All right. We don't have a post-game show. Usually we do the post-game show at 5 o'clock your time, 2 p.m. my time. We don't have a post game tonight. We're going to talk after the show here, and we're hoping to do something maybe tomorrow night. We'll see if
follow us on social media so you can know when the show is.
Yep. So follow us on social media, and then just come back to YouTube as well. We'll have that scheduled if Jake and I can come up with something. I know it's a little tough for him. He's on the East Coast, and he's going to have to work through the Monday night game, which he, have to check with him to make sure he's okay with that.
That's all right.
We had some technical difficulties on the video side of things, but Jake's audio never went out. We'll figure out the video piece in the future. It happens. It happens all the time. So anyhow, thank you, everyone. Jake, any last thoughts?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to go, Mike. I mean, it's time. Like, I mean, we got what? How long right now? It's 11:24. We still have... Man, we got over 8 hours. I mean, it's a long day, but luckily we got a lot of football to fill it with. So I'm ready to go. I think so. I was going to do something smoked for food tonight, but I think we're going to go simple. We're going to get some pizza. I think I'm going to go to Pasquale's this time around. They're pretty close to us. So I think that's what we're going to roll with. Pretty good pizza. So another recommendation for you. So I think I'm going to do that tonight.
By the way, your pizza recommendation, what was it? Bella or...
Yeah, Bella.
All right, so they got into the giveaway. Super, I'll mention their kind active service, but super happy. You gave them a shout out. They're in the giveaway. They're all about it. So shout out to them once again.
I love it.
I don't know if Bella made my list, Jake. I have a long list of pizza places to hit.
So with Bella, so like I said, that's a loyalty thing. I think it's very solid pizza. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, when my friend Alexis is working, the pizza's that much better because it's made with her heart. Like she's putting everything into it. So it's always a good spot. If it's I think the pizza in Buffalo, I mean, obviously there's so many good places. I really like Picasso's, as I mentioned. I think Bocce Club is incredible. Another one under the radar, Macy's Place, Pizzeria. It's in Cheektowaga. It's really good. Okay. Very good.
Well, we'll talk about all that. And again, maybe you and I can actually go. Maybe we can stop at Bella so I can give her a shout out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
There, thank her in person. So I think that's about it. Yeah, Bocce Club. Blake saying, yeah, Bocce's on my list.
Bocce's very good.
Imperial Pizza. I can only eat so much pizza in about, what am I going to be there?
I know.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But I plan to eat as much pizza as possible. Of course, chicken wings and a lot of beef on whack. And my family is not a big fan of fish fries. Obviously, I grew up with them. So I may have to go somewhere on my own to get a fish fry as well. So I mean, and then I got to I'm already getting requests for some sponge candy. Bring some sponge candy.
Oh, back. And sponge candy. That's a Buffalo staple.
Absolutely.
You got to maybe have them try some Loganberry too.
I might bring some of that back. We had to get together with my family yesterday, and one of my brother-in-laws, I mentioned to them, my father-in-law said, what's something you guys can maybe bring back for us? And I said, well, some sponge candy. I'll bring that back. My brother was like, isn't that just honeycomb? And it's the same thing, right? It's the same exact ingredients. And I said, no, there's a subtle difference. There's a subtle difference. I gave him a link, and I think at the end of the conversation, he was believing me that it was different. So I mean, I'm going to be bringing some sponge candy back for folks.
I love that. It's so freaking good. It's just I could taste it right now. I might have to go out and get some. Man, So good.
Well, you'll have to tell me where your favorite place is when I get there. And
Sure.
you talked about, what are we going to do to fill the time until this game? I'm going to get to my kid's soccer game. He's not playing. He just got his cast off on his hand, but he
Oh
has to
man.
be there to support the team. And I'm going to go watch him, and then they're having a party afterwards. That'll soak up
Nice.
some of my time. And I think there's a couple good 1 o'clock games that we're going to be focusing on. And then tomorrow, I think I don't know what's going on with the Ravens. They're getting all the primetime games early on, right? I think they're Monday. Are they
I
Monday
know.
night
They're
tomorrow?
Monday night. Them and the Colts. Yeah, it's
I
going to be fun.
mean,
I think that's going to be kind of lower scoring, to be honest, but
yeah,
should be fun.
yeah. All right, well, I'll let you get to it, Jake. Again, thank you, everyone. Let's see, Jets, Falcons on right now. Hey, give us a quick update for the that
20
game.
to 9. 20 to 9 Falcons right now. The Jets have the ball. Not sure what statistics look like. I just saw Matt Ryan throw the 1 touchdown pass, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to look that up. But
where are we at in the game?
third quarter with 7 minutes left, and almost a fumble there. Wow, that's Ryan Griffin. He actually hurt the Bills a couple years back. I remember he scored a touchdown on us, but yeah, 4th and 5 for the Jets here. All right, beautiful. I love it.
All right, let's go Buffalo. Let's all hope we're
Let's go.
celebrating a big victory tonight. And if we don't, end of the world. But let's do.
It's gonna feel like it's gonna be a long week
It's
if we
gonna
don't
feel
win.
like it. That's like I feel like we got to come on no matter what tomorrow, Jake. So let's figure that out, all right?
Yeah.
And talk about hopefully a huge victory. Again, it's your last chance to get those score predictions in there. Who's gonna win the score? $50 Amazon gift card on the line if you hit it. And we might make this
And remember
regular thing.
Remember the bonus code too, guys.
Yes.
It's just as a reminder, it's Josh4544 for an extra entry to win the giveaway prize.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Jake, thanks as always. You just make it so much fun for me. So thank you, man.
All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Let's
Go
go.
Bills.
Let's go, Buffalo.